friends. I'm Victoria from the Academy of Conscious Creators, and I want to welcome you to the Academy's first virtual Freedom Summit, featuring inspiring stories of greatness, wisdom, and empowerment. So let's begin. Apparently, we humans can have anywhere between 12,000 and 60,000 thoughts per day. According to research, as many as 98% of them are the exact same thoughts that we had the day before, and 80% of these are negative. And if we were to apply the 80-20 rule, meaning that 80% of our reality results from 20% of what we focus on, is it any wonder that our lives are sometimes feeling like Groundhog Day? And with the global rise in anxiety, depression, and mental health conditions in both adults and children, it's clear that we need to take a new approach. And so here to explore this topic with me is my guest, Gabriela von Kanel Fyfe. Gabriela is of Swiss origin, and she moved to New Zealand 30 years ago, where she lives with her husband. And she is really passionate about people, having studied many natural health and bodywork modalities in her work as a psychotherapist and holistic health practitioner. She describes freedom as being an inside job, and she uses a holistic mind, body, spirit approach and takes great pride in supporting the personal growth, healing, empowerment, and success within each of her clients. Gabriela, welcome.
Yay, welcome. It is a great space to be here with you. And even as you started talking, I love the sound of your voice. Really beautiful. Thank you for the introduction.
You're welcome. Thank you for being here. And so let's jump in. So I wanted to first ask or invite you to share a little bit. You've been practicing psychotherapy now for about 35 years. So I'd love to start by just going back in time a little bit and having you share a bit about you and how you first became a psychotherapist and decided to dedicate yourself to helping people get unstuck from issues that are causing them distress.
Okay. So psychotherapist for 20, holistic health practitioner 35.
Oh.
Just don't want to, tell anyone any fips here. Or good 20, yeah. So being with people is never ever boring, never ever the same. Being with people in ways that are more holistic has been proving to be the most rewarding way of working for me. And the gift that I did study first, a lot of body work modalities, massage, reflexology, kinesiology, touch for health, color therapy, Reiki, angel therapy, etc., etc.
Wow, I had no idea.
But then at some stage realizing that the people that came to me were really seeking something for an emotional or mental well-being approach rather than a sore leg or a sore back. So that led me into actually training in transactional analysis and psychotherapy. And I've never looked back because I can now step into a space holding just a really broad spectrum. And, the last 2 years, having added a modality through the Activate Evolution platform, has just up-leveled my whole way of life and my way that I work with people. And tapping into today, our conversation, it will be really exciting to blend the mental health or the well-being with a really a higher vibration, higher frequency well-being. And so I'm quite excited to see where it takes us today.
Good, me too. And so just you touched on obviously what clients you recognize clients were coming to you for. And it seems that most of them have tended to find you when they're kind of at that rock bottom place. Would that be true?
It's a mixture, really. Anyone, whether it is someone who needs a brief support, or then, in the years before, there were clients that I used to work for years. Now, quite often, I see them less long, I think, because the way of therapy or approach has changed. I think both has advantages, short and long-term therapy. But yeah, it's all about up-leveling and going with the changes that we have, from 3D into 5D, changes everything.
Yeah. So what have you noticed then that tends to be a common theme? And how do you prepare your clients for this next level of personal and spiritual growth?
I think one of the big things that I often say is the way we used to heal is completely different. What maybe took me 10 years to shift to get to, yeah. I have clients, they blow me away. They have a few sessions and they shift in literally in such a short time. So if anyone still is out there, certain things need to take years to heal. Well, I have changed my mind in that and say there is no limit to time and space. There is no limit to duration of healing. Sure, each and every person is different and different place to where their journey is.
Yeah.
But I've certainly noticed in the last few years significant shifts.
Yeah, and I guess as well, you kind of need to be ready for these shifts to potentially have these exponential breakthrough results, I would imagine. And then, of course, picking up on, you mentioned earlier, the Activate Evolution platform, which I think I came in probably a year or so later than you. I mean, that really, I've noticed, is a fast track to healing.
Absolutely. Yeah, it skyrockets as our evolution.
Yeah, big time. And so tell me a little bit, because from a young age, I know that you struggled because you were very you felt overwhelmed in the world and were quite oversensitive. So at what point in your life did you discover that actually this heightened sensitivity that you had was in fact a gift? And then how did you develop on that gift?
Yeah, so my journey really is the insights came as an adult. So when I was little, I was very sensitive, but of course, as a child, you don't know there is anything different. It just is the way it is. And I, as an adult, realized, wow, I was a seer already when I was little, because I used to be under my blankets in my bed, and literally my parents said, oh, are you watching your own TV again? Never indicating to anything, as in a clairvoyance or spirituality, but simply I had my time. I had a great time under my blankets. And I, because we were not, well, we did have a TV, but there was only like a quarter of an hour good night story that we were allowed to watch. That was, either probably before the news or something, I don't know. But that was all that we were allowed as in TV time. And for whatever reason, I developed this way to download, receive, entertainment. Yeah, it worked for me as a little one. Now later, well, I learned I was highly sensitive as a teenager and young adult. Yes, I was super sensitive, and I think the really low rock bottom time came late 20s, early 30s, where I got very depressed and suicidal, and that was, of course, the hardest time in my life, and took a lot of growth. Worked long time on myself, and still do, never stop. But I do remember, when I had this most dark and scary moment, and a little while after, I really made a commitment to myself. I never want to experience this again. And through that, my personal growth has happened, and we call it these days evolution, or journey of enlightenment. Well, yeah, different words or different names for it, that are leading into the unfolding of who we are, who I am, who you are. We all have our stories.
Yeah, and so picking up on the stories, can you share more about how the subconscious beliefs that we have, and the stories from the past, how that can impact our present reality? And obviously you mentioned depression that you'd experienced as well.
Yeah. So between birth, or say between the age of 1 and 5, between 12 months, 15, 18 months, the little person that we are, this is the phase where we develop into individuation. So before that age, there is a fusion of, we believe we are one with mother, or yeah. Right. And so this early age, this is when we are starting to differentiate, and through that, then we start creating our world and our belief systems. And depending what the environment is, all of us start to take on belief systems. Either, for me, was one of mine, we call them NTA drivers, is, please others. So yeah. I was praised when I was a good girl, and the cleverness of each and every person to adapt into drivers is, well, this is how my world was better when I was a good girl. Yeah. So we can adapt into pleasing drivers, or we can also go into rebellion. However, many people choose into going into adapting towards the pleasing way. So mine was please others, and the other one that I also have is be strong and be perfect. So there is another one, try hard. There's another one, hurry up. So there are 5 drivers that humanity in a way has as we adapt between this tiny little age and 5. We shaped our psyche, or the way we think we get love, or we get more attention from our parents or caregivers. And so that already distorts the image of who we truly are. Yeah, in the amazingness that we are. And so we live in these adaptations that become autopilots, and think, well, if I do this, or if I'm so strong, I will be loved more. And that limits our freedom, of course. And the journey of growing up is to recognize this, and to find healers, or allowers, or permission givers, to know, well, you're loved the way you are, whether you have a driver or not, whether you're adapted or not, or whether you make a mistake or not. Yeah, you're still this amazing unit. And so this is one little insight into the journey of unfolding from early belief systems. And of course, if we're really limited in our drivers, well, because we're not a relaxed, yes, anxiety, depression, or whatever can follow at some stage, because as an adult, generally the drivers just simply don't work, or they certainly limit us.
Yeah. And so we become, in a way, like a captive of our own thoughts and emotions. So how can we discern these, and then start to free ourselves, as you were saying?
I think awareness is always the first empowering step, recognizing, is there some stuff that I am doing over and over again, or is there something that I react over and over again? So this is like, we call it stepping from unconscious into conscious, and their awareness is sort of that really first level in towards freedom. That is wonderful. And then remembering, even though I have this, and this, it doesn't mean I am not an okay person. So how, like, I think you said in the opening, we have so and so many thoughts. Yes, an average person can have, around 60,000 thoughts a day. That's a lot,
Right.
The yapping mind, and becoming aware of what our mind yaps away is a great thing. The journey of your own evolution and stepping from awareness further up will help us to discern, what are we telling ourselves, what are we telling others, how are we reacting and responding. And so the freeing part is to know the core of you is an okay human being. It's an okay soul. It's an okay spirit, whatever word you want to use for that. Never forget this. You are an incredible being here in this very moment. And this is, I think, when we have this, because so many people experience trauma and brokenness, and almost this thought might already be almost a too bigger thought, but I'm still saying it. You are an amazing being. You're truly unique. And where was I going with this? I don't know. I've just lost completely the plot.
Yeah, I mean, what you were sharing was really spot on. And of course, we have people telling us who we are as we're growing up. And as you were saying earlier, that shapes the identity that we then show up in the world as. But then, as you were just mentioning there, it's also really important to have people around us to remind us that actually, underneath all of these layers that we've picked up, or gunk, should we call it, that they're at the core, there is this okay, or even better than okay, quite miraculous being.
Yeah, you mentioned it is important to have people around us. Of course, that's not always possible. And I think, the journey to freedom is an inside job. And so rather than expecting or depending, whether it's within a relationship or family or friends, that the acknowledgement comes from the outside, the most powerful way will be from the inside. And our true healing is about, how can I become the me that I am when I am around other people. So when I am to people that are meaningful to me, how can I stay authentically me rather than adapting, like we said before, into our drivers? So the journey of really being able to manage your anxieties, to manage your stress levels, to manage your reactivity in a way that honors you to stay authentic is really the key towards love, self-love, better relationship, intimacy, freedom.
That's so true. And I'm curious then, if the only bars to our freedom is our own mental imprisonment, how is it possible that we can be both sort of the prisoner and unconsciously also be the creator of our internal prison?
Two things have just come into my mind. The first thing I wanted to say, well, it's not as easy as flipping a switch.
No.
And then I just remembered our colleagues on the Activate Evolution platform. They are just going to run a workshop next or this Sunday actually, called Flipping the Switch.
Yeah.
I don't think there is a one answer to this. I think everything that we've talked about or shared is a part of shifting from the imprisonment towards freedom. And again, not one way. If anyone feels drawn to work with someone, really listen to your body. We have been trained so much to live from our heads, but I always say, well, if we were meant to be created just as heads, we would have been created just as heads. So my work really, Victoria, involves always the body. It involves listening to your body. It involves connecting. It's like, let's plug ourselves back into that one thing that we are. And, even if we do this, we bring our mind, all this busyness, and we just shift our attention into our heart, and we try and hold it there for maybe 10 seconds if you want to follow this, and simply have your attention here. What automatically will happen, you will start to settle down. I'm doing this with my eyes open, and I teach a lot to do this with eyes open, because I believe, well, the world happens around us and we have eyes open, but of course it is easier to close eyes. However, when we really, really manage to live from our center, our heart, our body with eyes open, again, we step further into being authentic and holding our place of self in relation to other is way powerful.
Yeah. We are able to tap into another perspective.
Authenticity, deeper intimacy. Ultimately, it's intimacy.
Yeah. So what would you sorry, Lola.
She says, I want to talk to her.
Oh, she's talking to the dog at the bottom of the garden. Okay, can we call it quits now, Lola? Thank you.
She's not quite finished. She's saying, I can barely hear me, only every now and then a little.
All right. Maybe it's more for me, because obviously I'm in the room for her. Sorry for the interruption. But yeah, I'm just curious then, because you've got so much wisdom and insight into this, and clearly you've empowered yourself over the years, and maybe, as you said, exploring all these modalities, it's taken you on this journey to where you are today. So what would you say was the kind of biggest insight, the biggest transformational experience that you had on your journey to personal freedom?
What just comes through is the journey of letting go of fear.
Yeah.
And again, that's a gradual thing, and that's got to do the journey of trusting myself. Absolutely. I think so it's not a one big flash experience. It's a gradual experience in the readiness of stepping, either, really looking at something scary, whether it's, with your inner vision, or processing it, whatever it is. But truly, I think, so these days we talk about frequency, and we talk about turning it inside out, and there's a lot of truth in that if fear holds a frequency, and trusting myself, or trusting or being connected to myself, has a completely different frequency. Fear has many ways of showing up. It can be from experiences or traumas, or it can be simply fears that are created from our minds or our egos. And both can be debilitating, and depending the person's experience, whether there's trauma, whether there's PTSD or anything lingering, it is that gentle encouragement to really connect to yourself, sometimes to say to your mind, to your brain, I hear you want to protect me. I know you want to keep me safe. Thank you. However, I'm choosing to take a new approach from my heart. And so we are not discounting the ego or the mind. Yeah, we are acknowledging it. And, the fear responses physiologically are in the back of the brain. So when we have fear or anxiety, all of this is simply the brain wanting to keep you alive. So the survival responses are like sometimes in overdrive.
Yeah.
And then being aware of this already means, well, my brain is functioning normally. It's just a bit overprotective. Yeah. So we can thank it for its wonderful willingness to keep you alive. However, there are also ways, that work for me better now. And I am safe now. And I take a deep breath. And as we do this, the vagus nerve gets activated. And as we do certain tools and techniques, well, the nervous system can settle down, and over, saying, I am safe now.
Yeah. Yeah, and then we're creating a new neural pathway, aren't we?
We will, absolutely.
Shift out of the old behaviors. And one of the things I've obviously learned over the years is, and particularly very, since we've met on this platform, is, there's a message in the fear and the emotions that we feel. And if we can take a step back from that to see maybe what the message is, then we're not so caught in that chaos of discomfort.
Absolutely. That's a really good point, Victoria. It is looking at it rather than being in it gives you a chance to make different choices. Beautiful. Yeah.
Thank you. So what are some of the key elements that you can offer to help others on their path to self-liberation?
Yeah, well, when I work with people, it is simply knowing I will meet you at the place of who you are. My job is to really connect or attune with you, and through that, uniquely offer space that supports you in your own evolution. And whatever way will show through, this is so different with everyone. Simply, yes, saying I am a holistic practitioner. Yes, I have my background and my training. However, I'm very open to what is coming through for each and every one of you. So I'm not that, I am that, but I have good foundations to work with you.
Yeah, so I imagine we talked earlier about your heightened sensitivity. I guess that must play quite a big role, if not, in fact, a bigger role than the what's the word I'm looking for? Like the academic knowledge, should we say?
Mm, mm.
Yeah.
It's I think it's wonderful to have, like I say, that is some foundations.
Yeah.
I think that is really awesome. And then it links really beautifully in with the more intuitive skills, and they have sharpened up very much over the last years. Yeah.
And so if there's someone watching this and struggling a little bit at the moment, maybe lost in their own thoughts and emotions, what insight or insights could you offer them today?
I would remind them to slow down, to pause, to so often when we struggle, we shrink our world and we go in, and that can at times be a tool to manage ourselves and to calm ourselves. However, if you've been in for quite a long time, I gently, and even for you to be here on this call and listening, I just honor every one of you, and to allow yourself to be open and inviting you to say to yourself or to your higher self, if you want to, please, higher self, show me my new next. Yeah. And so that means, Albert Einstein said we cannot solve a problem with the mind that created the problem. So we invite in to be shown our new next. And then again, the other story is, the man that was in despair and he asked God, to help him, this and that. And God sent him a ship and a tractor and this and that. And the man just couldn't see because he was waiting for God to show up. And then God showed up and said, the man said, why didn't you send me any help? And God said, I sent you a ship, a tractor, and that, but you didn't see it. Yeah. So knowing that there is a greater intelligence there that will always show up for you and encouraging you in your own unique way to see it, whatever, no matter how little your new next is, and reach out. Never be afraid to reach out. And then if it feels good, carry on. If it does not feel right or safe, we'll change and reach out to someone else.
Yeah, great words of wisdom there. And that leads me into thinking, well, we talked about accessing that higher mind and asking for the guidance to come through rather than kind of sitting in that sort of stressy space. So would you like to bring through maybe an activation or something to share with everyone today?
Yeah, I would love that. I would love that. So we are going to do this with our eyes closed. Yeah. And so I invite you to really sit with your back quite aligned if you can, and your feet flat on the ground. And I want you to start with just feeling basically your legs, your bum on the seat, and allow yourself to, well, feel your weight, feel your sitting bones, feel your legs, feel your feet on the ground. And if you feel comfortable about it, simply put your hands on your heart and inviting you to notice how your chest lifts and sinks a little with each breath. So really become aware of your weight, your sitting bones, your legs, your physical body first, and your breath. Your hands are connected to your heart. If you can't do this, simply bring your attention to your heart. And as you breathe, then I invite you to breathe in the brilliance and the beauty of the rainbow light. And whether you can imagine this or not, it doesn't matter. Maybe you think about a rainbow in whatever way is right for you, and just imagine you're breathing it in through the nose, down the spine, and out through your mouth. And we're just playing with this beautiful, sparkly light and frequency and intelligence as it comes in and expands within us in each and every cell of your body. Play with imagining the rainbow light within goes through each and every cell. So where we started with bum on the seat, and you might giggle, but it might be full of rainbows now. Legs, rainbow light, feet, rainbow light, back, rainbow light, belly, rainbow light. Chest, rainbow light. Arms, hands, rainbow light. Throat, neck, shoulders, rainbow light. Head, brain, rainbow light. Face and hair, beautiful rainbow light. You're filled with it. And as we are playing with this, each and every cell of your body is being given and upgraded from the inside of you, nothing to do with the outside, from the inside of you, upgraded, activated, switched on into a higher frequency, allowing higher levels of consciousness to come in from deep within you, unfolding. And we are asking your body to show you the way to your own unique ways to freedom, to you being you. And as we are doing this, we're inviting from the inside of you the light switch to be switched on from your heart, from your brain, from your whole body, and each and every cell, your unique light to be switched on. And we hold this frequency for a little while as it integrates. And if your mind wanders, just bring it back to your breath, to the rainbow light, knowing from the inside out. It's like when you upgrade a phone, it's happening for your highest and best, gently, lovingly, powerfully. I'm just holding this for a few more breaths. Breathing deeply. And once again, imagine the rainbow light as it flows through your head, down the spine into your heart and throughout your whole body, bringing in freedom, consciousness, awareness, support, courage, vitality, well-being, wisdom, and delight. So one more deep breath in. Feel your feet on the ground, your bum on the seat, breathing out. And then we put our hands together and we say, thank you, it is done.
Thank you, it is done. Thank you, Gabriela.
You're welcome.
That was really nice. And I did feel myself expanding and like feeling lighter. And I'm also visual, so I kind of can see the colors of the rainbow entering me. And as you were talking us through, I think one thing that came through for me was a reminder that, often we hear so many of us doing affirmations and asking for this insight, and maybe we get the insight, but then we think that, but just repeating an affirmation, it's going to happen for us. And so I was reminded how important it is that, once we ask for that higher guidance and start to tap into that, the next step is to actually act on that intelligence. What would you like to share on that?
Yes, I think there are a couple of things that came to me. So we are so good in asking, again, and it's a little bit to what we said before about the man who asked. It's also a real important practice to listen or to become aware, well, what is my skill of picking up this higher guidance? Because the truth is, it doesn't come from the outside, it comes from the inside. So searching on the outside, not so much. Yeah, we've done it. Yes. But actually it comes from the inside. So my recommendation is pick up your skills in how do you notice when your gut feeling is there, when, like you used to say, you said before, I'm a visual tool, whether it's inner seeing, or whether it is you get goosebumps, or you feel it in your body, or you hear little messages that are always gentle, powerful, always for your highest and best. Well, then the next step is, as we notice those messages, to follow them. Yeah. So that's really the action step. It's what we call the listen and do. It's creating not from your own ego, it's creating from that higher place, and then following that guidance is the action step. So my action step recommendation to you is, well, tune in, listen, and then do.
Absolutely.
Rather than doing and thinking and expecting. So
yeah,
inside out.
I love that. Thank you. And I know for myself, often I might ask something and it, it's not necessarily going to show up that moment. And it might be, an hour later or a day later, but maybe a song will pop into my head or will start playing on the radio. And it's just so prominent that and maybe the lyrics, you just know that was your answer. So that's one of the things.
And life changes. Truly, life will change for the better the more skillful we become at listening, perceiving information on the inside.
Yeah, nice. Thank you. So as we come to a close of our conversation today, would you like to share a little bit about how people can connect with you and find out more about you?
Yeah, thank you. I've got a website. It's called www.sundialnz.com. So that's a way to read a little bit about myself. I do a monthly newsletter, sharing sometimes personal stories, always having an activation free, an attunement free recorded on the newsletter as well. So I love to share that with you as well. And there is also a link where you could email me, contact me if you would like to do that. So sundialnz.com is my website.
Thank you. And yeah, you mentioned the free activations that you give in a newsletter, and I believe you've come along today with a free gift that you'd like to offer our viewers.
Yes, absolutely. I will add that, and it will, I assume, be posted when you are creating your show. This will be about tuning into your own freedom and bringing in the frequency of divine freedom, so that you can feel it literally within your body. And whether you will listen to this once or a few times, it's a link from your body out, and I hope you enjoy.
I'm sure you will, and thank you so much. That's really kind of you. And yeah, I'd be interested from those that do download it, what they start to notice shifting in their reality as a result of activating that freedom frequency. So thank you.
You're so welcome. Thank you for having me, Victoria.
Yeah,
it's great fun.
Thank you for joining me. It has been fun, and lots of gems of wisdom and insight, which I'm sure people have a lot of takeaways from today. So thank you again for joining me. So I've been speaking with Gabriela von Kanel Fyfe, and she's a psychotherapist, divine communicator, and teacher, providing support and personal evolution, transformation, and empowerment. And if you're looking for a platform where you can access support on your journey to personal freedom, come join us. I hope you'll explore, have fun, and connect with others. And you can find out more at wearetac.com, which is weartacc.com, the Academy of Conscious Creators, empowering you to create a new story of your life. Thanks for watching.